Hello everyone, Shadefyre here, and welcome back to Let's Play Parasite Eve. This is episode 3, and it is now Christmas Day. So, if you're watching this on the day it's uploaded, Merry Christmas! And it is also Christmas Day in-game. I'm the only one who knows what happened last night. Always on some kind of medication. But apparently nobody knows what this medication was. And her apartment burned down right after the incident, just like the other singer. So I guess Eve went back to her apartment and set it on fire? We also meet our other detectives here. Along with Daniel, we've got Nix and Warner. Would you like me to show you my magic healing spell? Maybe that would be the best way to show it. How do we deal with ESP? Well, you could just shoot her. Also, did Aya mention the giant laser gator? Or the mutated rats that threw fireballs? Or is that just kind of secondary to the lady that sets people on fire? You better get a better gun. Well, I found this 1911 in a sewer. And here is Chief Baker. We can't deny all those deaths. We're going to go all out to solve this case. Make sure you're well equipped. Go down to the weapons department and give this permit to Torres. He'll help you out. Thankfully, Baker is not one of those stereotypical, constantly on your case police chiefs. So he gives us a mod permit. You don't get very many of these in the game, but they are handy. Come back later, after you've done the thing I told you to do. Also, he's got a bit of a hook nose going on there. That might be, again, the emulator vertex fixing. So we're back at the police station now, which has a great track. Sorry, I can only repeat my dialogue from the conversation we just had. So, she's never actually listed as a detective, but I assume that Aya is a detective since she's in this office here. You certainly never see her in just a beat cop uniform. Alright, let's phone the department and tell them what we're up to. But yeah, I really love this track. It's just it's got a good beat to it, while still having that kind of inorganic sound. So is that a picture of Melissa on the desk? That blob of black pixels? Because I assume that's our desk. There's really nothing to identify which one's which. And sadly, you cannot examine one of the desks 99 times to find a picture of Wesker. Or I suppose it wasn't a picture of Wesker, was it? It was Rebecca in her gym uniform. The good thing, too, is this song always plays when we're in the police station, and we will be spending a good amount of time here, since it is kind of our headquarters. High defense and strong against SA. Well, I don't think we're going to be attacked by something awful here, so not sure how handy that's going to be. We've already got 4 different sets of armor. I think the KV vest is the one we got from the crocodile. Sorry, alligator. There's no crocodiles in New York sewers. There's no alligators either, but that's what it was supposed to be. So you can see, this thing is actually not as good, but it does have a skill on it. So let's just take a look at that. You can see it'll auto-heal when we're at low health, which is actually kind of wasteful, so it's not really a skill we want to keep. At least not right now. Yeah, this is better. A little less PE energy, but we're not going to be using too much PE powers right now. And we will have a use for those other vests in a second. Yet again, another working mirror. Even though it's one that you can barely see, they still made it work. Don't worry, I've got like a pile of them already. At last, it's mine. It's actually worth remembering which locker that guy is at. Alright. Thanks, Kathy. I'm not sure if we ever see Kathy again, but she is named for the moment. Aya just looks so unimpressed here, but I think that's because her mouth is a little warped. No music in the weapons department, though. Alright, so we got our first tool, and that is a pretty important thing in this game. Since kind of half of the... well, I'd say even more than half of the RPG stuff in this is just modifying weapons and armor with various parameters. Oh, good. Switched it out for the same thing. And then there's also this little chest here. Just some ammo. Hey there, good looking. Cut the crap, Wayne. I imagine Wayne here sounds a lot like Steve Burnside from Resident Evil Code Veronica. That same kind of annoying, whiny voice, even though he's probably a fair bit older. Idiots like you are the reason why guns won't disappear from this country. Get your ass back to weapons storage. You're far from ready to be handling guns in here. So, of course, we've got the handsome, sassy, non-serious young guy and the gruff, old, weapons are bad chief. I guess he's not a chief. He's like a quartermaster, I guess? Are they still quartermasters if it's a police department? As long as cops rely on guns, criminals will too. Thanks, Snake. Yeah, I don't think we have to worry about Eve using guns. She just sets people on fire with her mind. Yeah, so we also can store our stuff here by talking to Wayne. And you have to get rid of all of your keys this way because you can't just discard them. So all the keys that we pick up in various areas, we're going to need to dump off here. This is the most powerful gun that I can allow you to have. It's an M16. Show me your modification permit, which we have. See, this is the thing. He tells you, he's like, hey, show me your permit, and then which gun, but he doesn't actually tell you what this does. But what it actually does is it opens up one of the slots on the weapon so you can equip another ability. Like here, you can see that the M16 has 2 times shots, and then its other mod slot is actually blocked. So now we've opened that up, and it has an extra slot. That's actually kind of a waste, but I don't think he lets you hang on to your mod permit. Cops own guns for protection. Don't let the guns own you. Can you tell that this game was made by a Japanese developer, despite its American setting? Please no, Wayne. Oh, I forgot this tutorial is mandatory. He doesn't ask for your permission. We're just gonna skip through this. I'll explain it, instead of just reading off a wall of text that is very low resolution. Now he says that because you cannot get rid of your club. You cannot just force it onto him. Since if you ever ran out of ammo without it, you would just not be able to attack. And you see here, he has an option, discard junk. That's not really going to be relevant for us right now, but it will come up later. And it's something that can get pretty annoying. Alright, so before we just drop anything off here, we're going to open the menu. So, if we go to tune up here, basically we can select any two, a gun and another gun, or armor and another armor, and we can transfer one of two things. We can either transfer... You can either transfer one of the abilities from one weapon to another. So, say if a gun had 3 times rate of fire, we could put that on one of our other guns. But in the process, it would destroy the gun that we moved it from. So you can only really move one thing. And the other thing you can move is all of the bonuses. So if I were to keep using, like, upgrades to, add +1 to a weapon, and then I got a better weapon with better base stats, I could just move all of my bonuses to that. So in that way, you always have like a stack of bonuses that you're moving from weapon to weapon, even if you don't always use the same weapon. Which is why I said it wouldn't be a waste if I used those +1 items we got at the start. So our starting gun doesn't actually have very much in the way of bonuses, so we're just gonna move the M19 to the M16. So that'll give us a +3 to attack and a +1 to bullets capacity. And this will destroy the gun, which is fine. So yeah, that's kind of the main way that you customize stuff, but later on you can do stuff like, add explosive to your shots or give them some special properties like shotgun scatter or burst fire. But for now, we can just use it to do that. And we only have one tool, so the rest of our stuff we can't break down until we find some more tools, which is why we are going to store the rest of it. And we're also going to just put the bullets back into our ammo crate. I believe the ammo crate actually does cap out at 999. But it might be 99, I can't remember now. So yeah, we're just gonna move all of our vests. And there we go. We've freed up our inventory. And then we're gonna equip the M16. And there we go. There really isn't a lot of melee weapons in this game aside from the club. I think there are actually 3 clubs in the game, but nothing else in the terms of melee weapons. And then we have BP, which is our bonus points that we get every time we level up. And you can actually put these into increasing the rate at which our active time bar goes up. So, we can act faster every turn in battle. Or you can increase your item capacity, which is kind of what we want to do first, but we don't have enough BP to do that. I think it costs 100. You can also use it to put just bonuses into your weapons, but you can't really do that early in the game. That's more for like New Game Plus. Alright, so now that we got all that explaining out of the way, can't really do anything here, but it's nice to see that they have a kennel and only 2 police dogs. And then we got the weapons department storage room, which we can't get into. Alright, I think we've spent enough time at the police station. But who's this? Okay, it's a little clearer here with the less blurry graphics, but for some reason I always felt that Ben was just like wearing this ridiculous red house coat. I mean, it's clear here that he's just wearing like a, you know, baller shorts. I do just like the idea of this random kid walking around in this tiny house coat the whole time, though. That's not true. Not everybody needs a mother. I mean, Daniel did say that he knows his kid knows that he's a cop, and that's why he's not available on Christmas Day. We got our briefing room here. Not much going on. I had a little trouble with that door. It sort of slid to the side. Okay. We could go upstairs, but there's just a gate up there that we can't pass through. Alright, what's the digs, Kathy? She's helpful for pointing us in a direction. Alright, let's see what our next assignment is. We're having a press conference now, and I want you there too. You'll be on national television as the sole survivor of that incident. Except the other guy. Totally unsubstantiated. Officer Brea was wearing a very flame retardant jacket. I mean, dress. She's not allowed to answer questions. She's just here to be on display. It's like a terrible way to answer that question because it doesn't even fit with the lie. Also, you notice that all of the, like, generic beat cops have a mustache? And, like, the same mustache? She said, Mitochondria, take pictures! Well, you blew it, Aya. Aya. He would probably call her Aya. They can't handle the truth. Now, I haven't actually seen or read the original Parasite Eve, so I don't know how widespread the information of what happened there is. Because if it was, you know, somewhat well known, you'd think that they'd be like, oh, you mean like that thing that happened in Japan? Is it that thing I just said a bunch of times when I wasn't supposed to be speaking? Let's see. Nix remembers high school. Daniel does not. I want you to immediately go to the museum and interview this researcher on Christmas Day, assuming he will be there, and also that he will speak to you. Alright, so we've got our assignment. Gonna go do some investigating. It's gonna be a bit of a plot episode this time. We kind of started off with some action, so things will be a little slower for the moment. But this game never really has too much downtime. Had to do like a 3-point turn there. What a case to have on Christmas, huh? Alright, thanks, Eddie. This is the first time we get to see... Oh, wow, this looks really... I think some of the fixes are going to mess with the world maps particularly. I mean, we saw it at the end of the last episode that it did not like the smoothing, but you can read what these say when I don't select them. So we got the museum, we've got NYPD 17, and we've got Carnegie Hall. No reason to go back there. But yeah, I just find it neat that we have this little world map, and there won't be too many occasions where we have multiple places to go, but all of the places we've been tend to open up here as we go to them. And you can revisit previous dungeons. Going to the Museum of Natural History. Dr. Hans Klamp will be there. Now, I'm going to assume that Dr. Hans Klump is German. Just have a feeling, but people often assume that he is also Japanese. Kind of from the way he looks. Antisocial and doesn't like wasting a time. Of course he's going to want to talk to some cops. He always liked sitting behind a desk more than I did. And apparently, the American Museum of Natural History is having an exhibit on chocobos, as you can see from the banner there. Well, when the camera rotates back. Chocobo. The world of dinosaurs. Love these things when I was a kid. Looks like it's closed today, yeah. I don't think museums are usually open on Christmas Day. You know, it's a nice touch that there's actually different footstep sounds for the snow and the steps. What is he wearing on his hip? It just looks like a bell. Oh, it's a flashlight. Which I guess he carries even in the middle of the day when he's standing outside. He's up there in his room right now. That door wasn't even locked. I imagine most museums are pretty creepy when they're empty. Doesn't come out. Ever. I'm not even sure what he eats up there. There's a phone there, but we don't need to save just yet. Just hope this place doesn't explode one of these days. It's just one of those things I think about as a security guard. Because then I'd be out of a job. So again, we can't really go anywhere in the museum. We can't check out this sweet... Is that an ankylosaur of some variety? Looks like it's got the... Oh no, that's just a rock, isn't it? I can't tell if it's a clubtail or a rock. Very unclear. The problem is these fixes clean up the 3D models, but they don't do so much good for the pre-rendered backgrounds. Though I don't think they look too bad here. The nice flicker of a low refresh rate 90s monitor. I hear you, I just don't care. I don't know what kind of voice to do for Klump. Oh no, he used flashback. It's super effective. I don't think he could be the doctor in the flashback with black hair. We'd like to ask you about the mitochondria research you've been doing. The suspect mentioned that the mitochondria would be set free. Now, do you... We were hoping that as a scientist, you might be able to tell us about mitochondria. Do you? The mitochondria possesses its own unique genetic code. Well, it's actually RNA, not DNA, but close enough. Yes, and you could say that this parasite is Parasite Eve. That's an interesting way of describing this most fascinating creature. We cannot live without the mitochondria. Do you understand? Yes, no. The mitochondria creates energy for us. Without it, we're nothing. We are here because the mitochondria allows us to be here, except when it sets us on fire. The brain functions due to the interaction between axons and dendrites. This interaction is possible due to the energy the mitochondria provides. Did you know the mitochondria is capable of discharging 200,000 volts of electricity? This not only pertains to electrical discharge, but also applies to heat energy as well. Ellipses. For a human to burn and melt, 1,600 degrees of heat must be generated. Is that Celsius or Fahrenheit? I guess it's degrees, so it's Celsius. There are several hundred mitochondria present within a single cell. If all the mitochondria in the body begin functioning at the same time, a tremendous amount of energy would be generated and released. Melting a human into a puddle of fluid would be a simple task with so much energy. Well, they didn't melt into fluid, they just turned into crispy fries. So you're saying that the mitochondria, again, I don't know why that's in quotes, ignited these people. Professor, you mean right in that we need the mitochondria to live, but in the end, we're just using them for energy, right? Take this hand, for example. It may not have very many polygons, but you'll still get the point. Before we're born, the hand is merely a glob of flesh. But when cells between the fingers deteriorate, that's when the fingers first fall. When the cells which make up the body aren't needed anymore, it receives a signal to die. That's called apoptosis. This signal is initiated by the mitochondria. When it is relayed, the genetic information in the nucleus is cut off and, in essence, dies. The same can be said for aging. The mitochondria mutates 10 times faster than cells. Of course, this also applies to mutant forms of mitochondria as well. When too many mutant mitochondria multiply, energy production levels decrease. This decrease in energy production is associated with the aging process. So, are you still stupid enough to say that we are the higher species? But you're not saying that the mitochondria is doing all this consciously, right? When I said that mitochondria could mutate 10 times faster than normal cells, I also meant that they could evolve at a rate 10 times faster. Since the beginning of creation, the mitochondria has been evolving at this rate. It's no surprise if they possess a power beyond our cognition. No surprise at all. Ellipses. Let me tell you something. There was a scientist who tried to determine the mutation rate of the mitochondria. With this, the scientist wanted to establish a connection with human ancestry. In 1987, it was announced that the root of all humans can be traced to a single woman in Africa. This finding was announced around the world. And with this, the mitochondrial theory spread like wildfire. You know what they call the root of it all? Mitochondria Eve. Splendid name, just incredible. Eve? Yeah, you're putting the pieces together here, are ya? The suspect in yesterday's case called herself Eve. What? Sorry. Ellipses, question mark. What? She called herself Eve. Sorry, but I've told you I know. I'd like to return to my studies now. I believe you know the way out. Clack, clack, clack. See, he didn't actually tell us anything immediately useful to the case. He just told us about mitochondria. And now it is nighttime. I guess his explanation took a long time. I do like the little detail, too, of the helicopters and the ferries. Look how fast Daniel drives. Like, compare to when we were driving back to the station on the first day, and now here, he's always driving at, like, bizarre light speed, and there's never any traffic. I've seen him before, but I can't remember where. If only there was some kind of device that would allow me... Sorry, some kind of narrative device that would allow me to recall where I've seen this man before. Looks like we got a break in the case. I'm kicking this into turbo. Daniel, if you go any faster, we're gonna go back in time. How's it going, Eddie? He always has to do that turnaround. Hey, Aya. And news on the case. Hope you bag this creep soon. I'd hate to bump into him on the street. Well, you'd burst into flames if you did, so you wouldn't have to worry about it too long. Alright, Kathy, what's the scoop? No, she doesn't want to tell us where we have to go. We're gonna wait until next time to find out what the chief wants. Because that was actually a lot of exposition. So, I apologize for having a combatless episode, but that's gonna happen a few times. And I promise that we'll make up for it in the next episode. So until then, I've been Shadefyre. This has been Parasite Eve. And I hope you'll join me next time as we continue with finding out what's going on here with Eve and the mitochondria and why they're out of control. Until next time, take care, folks.